What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse ranch. No hate. You know, I touched on this briefly before, and I'm going to talk about it now real quickly, man. Derrick James. Things have been falling apart in that camp. I'm not talking about the rumors about Errol Spence leaving and Frank Martin leaving and all that. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, that was just rumors that was addressed already. And Derrick James said it was nonsense. Now, what I'm referencing is this. Like I said before, Errol Spence got the brakes beat off of him. He tried, but, Frank Martin, agrees to a fight with Shakur Stevenson and pulls out. Jermell Charlo goes in the ring. Canelo didn't show up to fight. Anthony Joshua at least has turned things around as far as winning, but people never satisfied with nothing he does. Okay. I touched on this, everything that I just said, but there's one particular thing I want to touch on more. And this is something I expressed it. I'm just going to elaborate on it a little bit more in this video. Derrick James, the man won Trainer of the Year. Okay. Last year, whatever it was. Errol Spence won 3 belts on there. Jermell Charlo became undisputed. You can't sit here and shit on the man, for that. This is something, that's it's accomplishments, okay? And looking at what boxing is right now, I've been saying this shit for years now. The majority of these fighters don't have the basic fundamentals down. They just don't. They're flashy, they have a lot of flair, but they really don't have the basic fundamentals down. And it shows you when they actually get in tough fights. And the things that they should be doing, you don't see them doing. Because they're not being taught this. The trainers don't know these things. But what Derrick James said, that I'm like, that's not good. He said he don't watch boxing. He said the only time he watch boxing is when his fighter's fighting or when they, study a fighter that his guy's fighting. That also can be a problem. Because even to be a champion, even to win a belt, even to be good, you could be that much better if you was more of a student of the game. Every fighter back in the day, you used to hear them say they grew up watching, this fighter, but they all basically studied and watched everybody. That's how you get the knowledge and the understanding. If you watch a lot of these guys now and listen to them, they'll tell you, oh, I heard, I never seen Mike Tyson fight, but I heard that Mike was the guy, he was knocking everybody. Oh, y'all heard Muhammad Ali was the greatest of all time. I never seen him fight before, but I heard Ray Robinson was supposed to be one of the greatest of all time, but I never seen him fight before. You understand? They don't care. They don't care. So they're not learning basic fundamentals. They're not watching these fights and studying and understanding. Okay. Because, when your IQ is raised, you watch fighters and you can instantly spot what they're doing and why they're doing it. The person, you got 20 people in the room with you. They don't really catch it as what this person is doing. It could be little subtle things that they overlook. Okay. The same goes for a trainer. Because as you're training your fighter, iron sharpens iron, right? So you yourself can watch other fighters and things that they do. And it's like, you know what? We're going to use that too. Oh, you know what? I'm going to use that. Yeah, because now these are things that your fighter can add to his arsenal. So to hear a trainer say, I don't watch boxing is like, Pernell Whitaker used to say he never studied his opponents. That's bullshit though. Now, in the amateurs, you don't know who you're fighting. So you show up and you might, don't know who you get in the ring with. That happens, okay? As a pro, how can you not study an opponent, yet you can analyze what they do good and what they don't do good? Yet you analyze how you think you match up with them. And no, I think part of that was just Pernell, you know, like bragging to try to make the people feel like, damn, okay, he's that good, and he don't study his opponents, and he just going in, you know. No, I don't believe when he says that. Just like I don't believe, is it Mayorga? Used to light up a cigarette after the fight. I'm like, man, I think that motherfucker does that shit just to be an asshole, to get attention to himself. We know smoking, it fucks your lungs are fucked up. Your wind is bad. You cough a lot. It defeats the purpose of being an athlete. Okay. I said, I bet you that motherfucker only does that shit after the fight on purpose. But either way, you know, so people pull these little bravados. You know, a rapper, oh, I don't write my rhymes. I just go in the booth and spit, like randomly, just off top of the head. Okay. Some of the music I hear, I'm like, I believe you. But you understand what I'm saying? I think it's just one of those trying to show off like, oh, I'm really that good. But for Derrick James, I'm just saying, it would help. Now, he was telling Jermell Charlo and, you know, to use your legs and move. He was talking to him, okay? Charlo wasn't listening. He wasn't. But in detail, Derrick James is not detailing what you should be doing, why you should be doing it. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's just telling him, use your legs, man. You know, let your hands go more. You know, but you understand? You know how a trainer will tell you, look, man, use your jab. You know, he's counting with the left hook. Make sure you got that hand up. I want you to spin out, jab in, jab out, jab to the body. As you jabbing in, step to your side when you do it. You know, I want you to turn it to show. You know, they're breaking this shit down because they're watching what's happening. Derrick James doesn't do that. And that also could be the reason, too, why fighters are not listening to their trainers, because you're giving them minimal instructions. So they don't feel confident in what you're saying. If you're speaking to them and they can visualize what you're saying, it makes it easier to, okay, I see, yeah, all right, I got you. I see what you're saying. I'm going to do that. You as a fighter know what you should be doing. Your corner helps to keep you going, keep you moving, keep you motivated. They, you know, help to keep that battery in your battery in your back, you know, and you know, keep you focused, to help keep you focused. That's what they're there for. Because once that bell rings, it's just you and your opponent. Deontay Wilder, we heard him say, we used to always say, if he had some skills to go with that right hand, man, the dude would really be a good fighter. He has the potential, but no, he just right hand crazy. And what did he say? You know, when you're knocking people out easy like that, you know what I'm saying? It's like you only feel like you need to do all that. What the fuck is boxing come down to, man? What you mean? And look at Deontay, his resume. He managed to knock Fury down 4 times altogether, but at the same time, he lost. You understand? And also, like, yeah, look at the quality of opponents you've been knocking out. These guys are not good. So now, let's bump my head up and make me think I'm an all-time great. I belong in the Hall of Fame because I did this and I did that. But against who? You understand what I'm saying? Then you hear him saying, back to basics. The things that I should have been doing, I've been neglected, I'm going to start doing. Then Malik Scott comes in and says, oh, nah, you know, the guy won a silver medal, man, and a bronze medal. I mean, you know, so you can't, you know, you don't win a bronze medal and you don't know how to box. Nah, he never knew how to box. He didn't go in the ring and box. He went in the ring and fought. That's what he did. He's a fighter. He goes in and he fights, okay? He doesn't know how to box, okay? You don't win a bronze medal and then just forget how to box. He never knew how to really box, okay? But that's what I'm saying. These guys are not students of the game. They don't study film. They don't sit down and break shit down. They don't do that. They just go in the ring with that same mentality of, you know, I'm better than these dudes or whatever. But they avoid each other. So you know they're not as confident as their words. So now, if a fighter can do that, and a fighter, you know, is lacking because he needs to be in there, he needs to know what he's doing. So when he's in there, he can nullify this shit. He knows how to adjust and to adapt. You think Floyd was as great as he was because he didn't watch and study? You ask Floyd, he'll tell you he studied everybody from Ray Robinson, Ali, Duran, you know, Hearns, everybody. He studied. That's what great fighters do. That's what people don't understand the difference. They don't understand the difference. I always say, you could take two dudes, same exact hand speed, same exact punching power, same exact footwork, right? Everything. Same chin, could take a punch, same conditioning. If one guy has a very high IQ and the other one doesn't, that's who more than likely is going to win. Because see, what you have everything else physically, but you lack the IQ. There's always different ways to try to win a fight. Okay, so yeah, hearing Derrick James say that was like, yeah, and I'm listening. And you know what it did? It made me start to go back and watch fights with Derrick James in the corner. And, you know, a lot of times, man, they talking, people talking, you don't really, you know, the camera, they're not where you can really hear what's being said. But, like, if you really listen to it, Derrick James is not really detailing his instructions. But it's not just a Derrick James thing. So this is what I'm saying. Like, in this era of time, it's not, you got to, everybody's accountable. It's not just the fighters, the trainers as well. All the powers that be in boxing that help fuck it up, you understand? And take it to a level where it's all about the money. They don't care about legacy. The trainers that's coming in, a solid trainer, okay? Like, I think, like, when people talk about Eddie Reynoso, for example, what I'll say about Eddie Reynoso, I don't know what he's saying in the corner, okay? Because I don't speak Spanish, okay? I know words. I can't speak it fluently. He seems to me like he trained all his fighters the same exact way. So if the fighters you have don't have the same ability, they need to be able to make adjustments to make up for what they lack. So, you know, listening to what Derrick James is telling his fighters, his training worked up to this point. So, like I said, you can't take credit from him. But what I'm getting at, people, is the fighters lack basic fundamentals because the trainers lack basic fundamentals. And Derrick James is a fighter. You know, Tim Witherspoon has a channel now, and saw him talking about if he would have trained Anthony Joshua, he could have helped him. Wilder, he named, you know, all other fighters that lost, he could have helped them, because he's saying the same shit that I'm saying now, and I've been saying, that they lack basic fundamentals. Now, he was talking about Joe Joyce, and I'm saying, I don't know that he could have helped Joe Joyce, because Joe Joyce is just too damn slow, and Joe Joyce does not have a boxer's IQ, okay? He's a puncher, okay? He's a puncher. He doesn't have a good boxing IQ. Tim Witherspoon was a boxer. Now, what, you know, as far as him holding his hands up high and trying to teach him how to, you know, like even Tim Witherspoon told a story about how a kid was getting bullied, and he took that kid in one day. He had that kid fighting on a better level where now the kid wasn't scared to get hit, and he knew how to block punches. And okay, that's one thing. But in terms of, you know, helping Joe Joyce, I don't see his methods really being effective for Joe Joyce because of Joe Joyce's overall style. Joe Joyce is just slow, and part of his persona and what helped him to psychologically break his opponents down is his ability to take bombs. It just caught up with him. Zhang wasn't having that shit. So Tim is entitled to his opinion, but personally looking at his style and what he's talking about and how he could train him to do, Joe Joyce is different. Pick another fighter. You might be able to help Anthony Joshua. You might be able to help him. You might be able to help Deontay Wilder as well. Maybe. Understand, we're not talking about fighters that just starting out. We're talking about fighters that's been fighting a particular way. You might be able to help AJ. Who knows? But AJ's with Derrick James now. And I even think about something that he said. Remember when he was talking about Anthony Joshua about the right hand. He was saying that AJ was telling him, I'm trying to time him. And, you know, he's telling him, I know, I see what you're doing. Like, step in. Just throw it. Just throw the right hand. Just throw it. That was all he told him. No instructions. AJ was trying to get close enough, trying to close the distance. That's what he was trying to do. But he was trying to get in and throw it without the shot being telegraphed. That's what AJ was trying to do. But Derrick James, in other words, instead of Derrick James saying, okay, I got you. I see you got the high guard. When you coming in, step. When you pump the jab, fake it. You know, throw the feint. Okay, if he leans, jab to his body. Right? Jab to his body. You know, feint. But when you come back, let the right hand go. Okay? I need you to make him get back. Take your hand, as a matter of fact, when you throw the jab and he puts his hand out, pull his hand down with your left hand and throw the jab, the right hand over. Like, you understand what I'm saying? He's not instructing him. He's just telling him, just throw it. Yeah, just throw it. Don't worry about it. Just throw it. But you also said there's things you want to see Anthony Joshua do that he's not comfortable doing yet, right? So you're working with him with smaller steps than with Errol Spence, Frank Martin, and Jermell Charlo. You understand? So you know AJ needs more coaching. He needs more explanation to have the understanding than the other guys that you name, right? So for him to tell you he's trying to get closer, well, he threw it and he got the knockout, and that's what mattered. But this is my point. With confidence and the right instructions, he probably would have got him out of there earlier. Because AJ is not an instinctive fighter. He's not the type of guy that just picks up, okay, I can. That's not what he does. And what he used to do, how he used to bust people's asses, you know, he's not doing it that way no more. He wants to be a boxer instead of a boxer-puncher. I think he likes the idea of being a boxer-puncher. But for me to be a boxer-puncher, now I'm putting myself back in harm's way. You understand? And so for Derrick James to say what he said, it's like, yeah, that would really explain why, when you look at certain fights, like example, I don't think Errol Spence should have had as hard a time with Sean Porter as he had. Because if you listen to Errol Spence, he says, I can box, right? I got boxing skills. People underestimate my skills. And, you know, so he fought Mikey Garcia. And then he boxed because he said he wanted to make a statement, because if he'd have went after him and then knocked him out, everybody would have been saying, oh, but he's a small guy that came up, right? But wait, Errol Spence also said, I can box and jab and move and stuff and all that, but that's boring to me. I just want to get in there and mix it up. And what did I say? It's a lack of discipline. And that shit can come back to haunt you. Well, he fought Terrence Crawford, and that's what happened, isn't it? Lack of discipline. Everything is going, throw the hardest shots I can possibly throw. So now, for y'all that really want more depth on it, go pull up some fights with Errol Spence and go pull up the Crawford fight. Go look at fights where even the fights that they won, just listen to Derrick James' instructions. They hear what he's saying. This is where I'm saying that, you know, it's different generation to generation where certain fighters get accustomed to doing things a certain way. But they just push everything else aside. You know, and the basics, the basic fundamentals, just overall techniques. It's not about looking flashy, man. It's about being able, you got the flash and flair, great. You can add that to your actual skills, because the skills is what you want. That's what's most important, okay? The entertainment value of it, where the fans love what they see, cool. But to get the W, that's what matters. And this is where these fighters are lacking. But I've never heard a trainer before. And I'm not saying that Derrick James is the only one, but I've never heard a trainer before say, oh, I don't watch boxing. I've heard retired fighters say, oh, I don't watch boxing. But I've never heard actual, you know, a trainer who's in there training fighters, an active trainer, say, I don't watch boxing. I only watch the guys that my guy's going to fight. And I think that it would help Derrick James to be a better coach. And I think it would help him to have a better understanding overall, because you're going to see different styles and things that you're not really used to seeing, or just things that's going to make you more aware. So now when you're training your fighters, you have more knowledge to give them. Why would you limit your knowledge? You understand what I mean? You're doing a disservice to you and your fighter. So maybe that's something Derrick James need to consider, man. I mean, I think he should, but who knows, right? Let's see how things go. Because let's not forget, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford, who's in the corner. Bo Mack, one side, Derrick James on the other side. What instructions were you giving Errol Spence? Now, was Errol Spence capable of actually doing it that night? Well, if you was giving him better instructions, don't know. Because Derrick James, you and Errol Spence have very similar mindsets. You don't watch boxing, and Errol Spence can box, but it's boring to him. So you both lack discipline in the same ways. Only you a trainer, and he's the fighter. So it's not so much about Errol Spence needs a different trainer. If you decided to have a different trainer, that trainer needs to be able to have you tap in to what you need to tap into to understand. There's things you need to add to your game. No different from me saying AJ needs somebody that can tap into this to make him understand. Like when you talk to AJ, you got to talk to that man's soul to get him to understand, you know, that this is what you need to do, AJ. Sometimes you got to take fucking risks. We're trying to keep you as safe as possible, but we need you to go in there and win the fights. And, you know, we're trying to give you everything you need, sharpen these tools so you can go in there and be well equipped to adjust and adapt to what's happening in that ring. And this is one of the things where when you hear me say stuff like Floyd and Manny Pacquiao, or like the last of the Mohicans, of like really skilled fighters, not saying there's no more skilled fighters, but I don't see anybody that I put on those guys' level. Not from this generation after them. No, nobody. You know, and even people that talk about Usyk, I like Usyk as a fighter, but Usyk versus Bo, I think Bo stretches him. I think Holyfield beats him. I think Mike Tyson beats him. Muhammad Ali damn sure beats him. I think George Foreman beats him. Usyk has heart. Usyk comes to fight. This is a different era. Teddy Atlas, I didn't hear him say it. I did see a thumbnail, and someone did tell me that Teddy Atlas said Tyson Fury is the best fighter of all time. And listen, if that's his opinion, that's his opinion. But let me call bullshit on that. Look at Muhammad Ali's resume. Look at Tyson Fury's resume. Just saying. All right? Just saying. Beating these other people does not mean you beat Mike Tyson. Beating Deontay Wilder, who cannot box anyway. Beating, you know, Steve Cunningham, a guy who's a cruiserweight that drops you. And that's why every time he calls Usyk a cruiserweight, I'm like, but you got dropped by a cruiserweight. So what does that matter? You keep saying he's a cruiserweight. It's like you're trying to get in his head, trying to psych yourself out to believe. But look at what Tyson Fury ends up doing now. He's fighting, supposed to be this Ngannou guy. Doesn't even want to fight boxers anymore. He just wants paydays. Against who, though? Because the biggest paydays you're going to make are the guys you're avoiding. Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk. Now, anyway, just saying, y'all, you know, I really thought about those words that Derrick James said. And I think that could actually be a problem that's camouflaged because of the success. But like I said, that he could be a better trainer and his fighters could be better fighters if he himself was studying and observing. You know, boxing. He needs to study fight. Even listen, it will always be beneficial to watch the all-time greats. But even the fact that you're saying you don't watch boxing right now, you got potential opponents out there, man. You know, these are things that he should do. I don't think it's wise for any trainer or any fighter to not study film, to not study opponents and not study the art of boxing. You understand what I mean? It's like as simple as this, right? These rappers right now, well, now the game is changing financially, where these guys are not making the money that they was. It's a lot of dry spots going in because now it's no longer about selling albums. It's about selling singles. So it's changed for the worse. So a lot of these fucking companies are not making the kind of money that they expected. They're actually losing money. But up until this happened, let's say it like this, these rappers might be able to sell more albums than the pioneers of rap, but they can't out-rap them. By no stretch of the fucking mind can they have no wordplay. They silly shit. Do you hear some of this shit? Do you hear some of this shit? Yeah, my racist frown's dead. Yeah, I got a bitch. She on my dick. Got the bitch in the back of the whip. She a trip. She a thot. My bitch is hot. Like, what did a fucking 5-year-old write that for you? They can't rap for shit. But guess what? They are part of this generation. Now ask someone from this generation who you think is better. This guy or Rakim or Kane or G-Rap or Ella. Are they better than them? I don't even know who they are. You understand what I'm saying to you? They don't have any lyrics, any wordplay, any substance. They just say the first thing they can do, as long as you do some little goofy ass dance to it, you know what I'm saying, a little stupid shit and all that, then basically it's hot. They ain't talking about nothing. And I'm not saying it to be, I'm being straight up. They're not talking about shit. And it's the same thing. This is where I tell people, man, you sit back and watch some of these old fights that you didn't forgot about. And you'll be like, oh shit, and you'll just go from fight after fight. And then what happens? You'll watch fights from now and be highly disappointed. How you have to really pick and choose like what you want to watch. Because you can pull up a whole bunch of old fights and be like, damn, these motherfuckers was going at it. They was, you know, gladiators. This is what I'm saying, people. It's beneficial to the fighter, to the trainer, and to the boxing fans. Because you want to be as prepared as possible. So for, you know, Errol Spence to say that he can box, which, you know, yeah, I've seen him look better. Most definitely. Like, I'm not going to get into all of, you know, what happened with him and Crawford, but did you see him try to do anything different in that fight? He couldn't. So where was the boxing skills? And like you said, I believe my all-around skills is going to be better than his and this and this. And what are we all saying? If they fight at 154, if his approach is not different, he's going to lose again. Unless he just punches chance situation. Because what he tried to do, that's not working for him, right? So simple. Anyway, talk to me in the comment section. What y'all think about Derrick James as a trainer? Do you feel like he's limiting himself and his, you know, information and knowledge that he's passing on to his fighters by basically just going by what he's been doing with them, but not really being able to add anything to the game, to his knowledge and to their knowledge, because he doesn't even study boxing. He doesn't even watch it. He said it himself. Tell me what y'all think about Derrick James. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. I will catch y'all in the next video.